What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share the video. Hit the join button and become a member. Wow! Well, members get exclusive content. Hit the bell icon on my channel so that you'll receive a notification every time that I drop a video. And you can go and check the video out. And leave a comment and a like if you support me and support the channel. I'm trying to grow the channel. It's not necessarily growing the way I would like it to, but it's growing. But we can do better if y'all show me some support. Maybe share the video, tell a friend, a coworker, a family member, your mistress, tell some damn body, and tell them to tell a friend. Let's get into it. Well, this transpired in Centinela State Prison between the gangs from down south Los Angeles, California, and the Bay Area cats. Really, the dude were really the whole up north car. Now, I should caution this story and set the premise. Back in these days anyway, and this was in 1997, back then, dudes from LA gangs had a propensity to believe that the dudes from up north were not up to par. This was really our mindset back then. People have asked me in my life, how was the relationship between the LA gangs and the dudes from up north? Well, at this time, it was tenuous, the relationship. It was very fickle. Any little thing could really send it up. And that's because, again, down south blacks are, South Central cats, excuse me, for the most part, South Central cats believed that the dudes from the dudes from up north were suspect. Some of them was on that Bleezy, the dudes from up north, that Beyonce, that Blinnack, that down baby. They was using it, they was sniffing it. And blacks at this time in South Central Los Angeles, can't say the same now, they wasn't really doing this sort of stuff. And, just mainly smoking or drinking or whatever. So they thought that was a bit weird and off-putting. Well, I should say we thought that. Us dudes from South Central LA, Compton and all that. And a lot of the times, it wouldn't take much to trigger an altercation with the dudes from up north. Really, it was based on this belief that their gangster was suspect. And here in Centinela, there was a young homie from Fort Trey Gangster there. I believe his name was Face. I was in YTS with one of the faces, though. I think G-Face, young homie. He was just a cool young dude, man. And I saw him in the county jail when I was fighting his last case in the court tanks, Face. This was a different Face. I don't know if he had a letter before, G-Face, T-Face, C-Face. I don't know. I forgot, but it's a Face for Fort Trey Gangster. And he was prolific at bringing in the down baby. In fact, he had pockets of the yard sold up. And at least until this juncture, I thought that he was a good businessman. He wasn't all that old, but he was conducting himself in an admirable way with the way that he was doing his dealings. And he was dealing with this dude from up north, from the Bay Area. And they had been dealing with each other for some time. And the dude from up north always came through with the young homie from Fort Trey Gangster's money. Always. Now and then he may be a little late from my understanding, but he was always coming through with the money. He didn't owe him anything. And on this last occasion, Face had told him in no uncertain terms that he wanted his money on a particular day. Because this dude had been late before, and Face, I guess, thought he could be up for a transfer or something, might be leaving soon, and didn't want to leave a debt behind. And it happens like that oftentimes. I've been on yards with different people owe me, and I try to take care of it before I even leave the yard, so as not to leave that sort of trash for the homies to clean up. They out here fighting my battles, talking about where the homie money at, and can get into something. I'm way in another prison now or at home or whatever. So I try to rectify those situations before a transfer is upon me. I understand that train of thinking. And as it were, Face was up for transfer, I believe. So he was anxious to get his money. Excuse me. He was anxious to get his money. But he did. Now, this is what sort of threw the thing off, because the dude said right in front of Face that you told me to have the money on this particular day. However, you did tell me that it would be a grace period. That if I didn't have it on this date, that you would give me an extra week or so. You know how I always pay. Sometimes it takes a few extra days, but they was doing big business. Like he was spending like $1,000 with Face every week or something. And he had never failed him. The money was always good, which is why when this situation came about, well, I was hesitant, because I just believed that if the dude was a Crip from South Central, then the energy would have been different. Not to say or to insinuate that Face is some type of coward and picking his battles, because I don't believe that. He was a stand-up dude, but he just programs different with certain Crips or whatever than he would with someone from the Bay or another race even, let's say. And so I thought that the energy for this situation was a bit exaggerated and unnecessary. But then again, I can't tell anyone how to conduct their business or feel about their money. Perhaps he had bills to pay. I don't know exactly the intricacies of their dealings. I wasn't a part of. Whatever the situation, Face was at his wit's end and had had enough of waiting. And so he began to make it clear to certain Crips there on the yard that if this dude from the Bay didn't produce his money and soon, then he was going to fire his shit up. He was going to take flight. Now, even a few of his homies cautioned him against this, because they said that dude has been doing good business with you, bro. He's been giving you a lot of money. Hell, he's your best customer. Why would you do that? He said, well, I'm about to leave, man. I told the dude to have my money. He said, nah, man, you told the dude that he had a few extra days. Basically, just like you on some bullshit because you about to leave. Maybe you trying to stay or something, get a write-up so you can stay or something, man. You don't want to transfer. I mean, what's going on? So they pretty much tried to walk him down, talk him down from his position. However, he was steadfast and determined and said that he was going to let the dude know that he had a few more days to give him his money. Now, I guess, like I say, it was about $1,000. But again, this particular dude is spending $1,000 once a week, because these Bay Area dudes, well, they have swag. And I should say that the general perception of the up north cats have changed over the years. I ended up being close with quite a few of them, and some of them are real strong, man. And they just different. They got a different stilo. They got a different swag, a different style. I'm sure that some of them thought that the dudes from LA was weird. Hell, walking around with your pants sagging and your ass hanging out. Back in the days, dudes from LA had finger waves. Jeez. Right now, that wouldn't go over too well. I catch a dude walking around with a finger wave. There was some cold gangsters back then that had a finger wave. Perms, curls, etc., with their ass cheeks hanging out. So they may have thought that the dudes from LA in their own circles was weird. So the fact that dudes from LA are sort of projecting this upon them, it's not a surprise. We just have different mannerisms, different ways of operating, and thus, sometimes we think that the way that we do things is better than the way that you do things. Again, since then, the relationship between the blacks from Los Angeles, Crips and Bloods, and the dudes from up north has gotten a lot stronger. But again, at this time, we sort of looked at them as our little brothers. And so they came out for day room one night, and Face, he tells the dude that he wants his money within 2 days. But the dude, to his credit, he did tell him right then and there, I'm not going to be able to have your money in 2 days. I'm not even about to lie to you about that. I told you from the beginning, when I would have your money, And that has not changed. But Face said, well, if you don't have my money on that day, then it's going to be a problem. Typically, really, generally speaking, the dude from the Bay Area should have took off on Face right then and there because that was a threat. But he did not. And once again, Face came to the yard and sort of reiterated to his faction what he had said before. That now he gave this dude a specific date, which comes up in 2 days. And if he does not produce the bag, then he's going to fire his ass up. Again, they sort of try to, talk him out of it, but he was determined. A couple of days later, the day room came about again. They have night day room. And because there was a level 3 yard, and this was on CR. And when the day room came about again, the dude from the Bay Area, well, he was pretty much prepared because he believed Face when Face had issued the final warning, and he knew that he didn't have his money on that particular day, so either had the money or be prepared for a fight, I guess. So he went out there to the day room, and they began to argue, Face and a young black dude from up north. And the argument began to escalate some to where everyone in the day room can hear what was being said. And Face is telling him, bro, I told you I need my money now. The police and everybody can hear this, though. He's telling him, I told you I need my money on this particular day, man. You trying to play me, man. You know I'm leaving. You trying to play me. But again, I'm I don't know. I didn't feel right about the situation, but it's not my business. But I just thought, dude been spending this much money with you every week, for some time this was going on. I don't know how much money you done got out of him. Why do you think he's going to try to walk out on you on this deal? He hasn't walked out on any of them. He's taken care of all of it. But again, this was the energy that he had for the situation. So the argument is escalating. But the dude from the Bay Area is not backing down. He's standing his ground, in fact, and told him, I told you I'll have the money on such and such date, and that's when I'll have it, bro. In fact, he told him, you getting loud ain't gonna change that fact. I said, whoa. See, some of them are about that life. And then eventually, after all of the small talking back and forth, Face did fire on him and hit him in his eye. And dude went to grab his eye. He grabbed his eye because he was, dazed for a minute. Perhaps his eye was watery. I don't know. But he did respond and start fighting. Right? He started fighting Face back. And really, that began somewhat to get the best of him. And even though he was injured at first and had to recover. And so now that he's getting the best of Face, well, the Crips in the day room, they're not going to allow that. And it wasn't too many dudes from up north in the day room, though it was a few. So, like 2 Crips jumped in and started packing the dude out. But I'm sure to their surprise, the dudes from up north, even though it was just a few of them, they jumped in and helped out their comrade. And the fight and the melee was on inside of the day room over this deal going bad. And truthfully, I guess you can say that the dudes from LA came out on top, even though it was pretty close. But that's because they were at least double. Maybe it was 5 dudes from up north and 10 dudes from LA that jumped in. It was really 2-to-1 in every situation during that melee. So they got the best of the dudes from up north. However, they should have, the dudes from up north, garnered respect from the way that they responded, all the way down to the first dude who got his eye punched, but then he responded. And then when they jumped in and started packing them out, the dudes from up north, they came. So that should have let everyone know right then that they, in fact, were not cowards because they were outnumbered and decided to respond. But the dudes did get the best of them because they had already planned it out, or at least Face had, and the rest of the dudes were already prepared to follow suit because, again, he had made his feelings explicitly clear and his plans abundantly known that he was going to fire his shit up that night in the day room if he didn't produce the bread. And so after all of the smoke cleared and some people went to the hole, what's so crazy is that it was quiet for a while when everyone went to the hole. And not everyone in that little melee went to the hole, but a few people. And it was a bit quiet on the yard, like everyone thought that it was just cool. Again, I believe that's part of underestimating the dudes from up north, because lo and behold, they were not finished. In fact, apparently, they had been sitting in a hole with many machinations, and under their own volition had decided that they were going to respond, that they didn't like the fact that 3 Crips had jumped on their homeboy, even though they jumped in and helped them. I'm assuming they felt like these dudes are not giving them the proper respect. And when a few of them got out of the hole, after plotting and planning while in the hole, they decided that they were going to make a move. Now, this is really crazy. Almost unheard of for a smaller gang, an up north gang, to attack Crips or Bloods. To attack a strong faction like that, knowing that they are sorely outnumbered, and at least as far as most people are concerned, don't have the same fortitude as the dudes from Los Angeles, California. However, they set out to change the narrative, to say, y'all have us all wrong. And so they got out of the hole, and unbeknownst to anyone, everyone thought it was over, that it was a wrap, that they did that, everybody went to the hole, and that was it. Wasn't even expecting a response. I promise you, no one was. But that is indeed what they got. Man, them dudes from the Bay Area got out of the hole and decided that they were going to be merchants of misery, merchants of responding. And they did just that. They got out of the hole, and even to my surprise, well, they went to work. I couldn't believe this shit. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's true. And I'll bring you that in part 2. These dudes from LA and these dudes from up north. So they got off on the dudes, and they pretty much won that, the dudes from LA. Mostly because the dudes from the Bay were outnumbered. But they had stood their ground. But the fact that they had stood their ground apparently wasn't even enough for them. They wanted to respond. I was surprised. I was for a few different reasons. But I'll tell you how the response went down when they got out of the hole. It was worth their respect. Just the fact that they made a move, period. They got my respect. They had it then, and they have it now. And I'll bring that to you in part 2. Stay free, people.